All right, Ben, interesting numbers on home field advantage. What do you think, just generally speaking, about home field advantage in the NFL? And we'll tie this back to the Broncos in a second. But what do you think, generally speaking, home field advantage has been this year?
I don't know. I think that home field advantage is a bit, I don't know, I don't want to say misleading, but I think that if you're Denver and you play at altitude, you've got a built-in advantage. If you're a team that's has a very loud stadium with fans there, that might be an advantage.
But nobody has that, really.
Right, not right now. And I think that
but I mean this year, like specifically this year, do you think there is such a thing as home field advantage? The Broncos haven't won a game at home. So
I think there's inherently a home field advantage in that your players are more comfortable because they probably slept in their own beds around their family and had a better schedule and timetable because, every city in America, everybody knows where the visiting team's staying at the hotel and knows to go pull the fire alarm at, 3:30 in the morning. So, and not that I'm giving anybody any
I was just going to
ideas,
say, we're not advocating to do that.
I'm not advocating, but if it were to happen, I wouldn't be mad. No. But, I think everybody knows about that kind of stuff, and it happens sometimes. That said, I don't know what the numbers are this year. I'm genuinely curious.
Okay. Well, first, let's hear from Vic Fangio on what he thinks home field advantage is this year.
Yeah, I don't know what the numbers are around the league or how it looks, but I do think the home field usual advantage is still there a little bit, but it's dissipated some with no fans or very limited fans. All three of our road games, I believe there was no fans, if I remember that correctly. Yeah, and you can tell the difference. You don't have without a sold out stadium rooting for the home team. It is different. So it'll be interesting to see by the end of the season if the home and away stats have been altered.
Okay, so through 7 weeks of NFL football, home teams are 53, 51, and 1.
You're saying there's an advantage.
There is. I mean, yes. Okay.
So you're saying it's a winning percent.
Two more. But I don't know what historically it is, but it's got to be significantly more slanted to home field. I mean, typically speaking, I think from what we do as analysts as we talk about a game or what even the betting community does, they tend to favor home field. But this year is unlike any. And as you can see by the numbers, 53, 51, and 1, there really isn't much of a home field. The Broncos, who have historically been a good home field team, they've been great on opening night at home. They lost to the Titans. You sort of wonder, for a team like the Broncos, I'm not saying that they're going to get all their wins on the road. So far they have. But I am not saying that they might have more success this year on the road than they do at home. Maybe I don't know what the psychological component is, but for whatever reason, it has not helped. You said it. I mean, there's travel. There's all sorts of reasons why home field you'd think would still be something, but it really hasn't been. It hasn't reflected in wins and losses.
Well, look who they played at home, though. I mean, you played the Tennessee Titans, a team that took the Steelers to the wire.
True.
And honestly, if it wasn't for kicking woes that you're talking about, an undefeated football team there, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I mean, the teams that they played at home with Jeff Driscoll, by the way. The teams they played at home are the best teams in the NFL. They went and got road wins against a bad Jets team and a mediocre Patriots team. I think it's just a circumstantial byproduct of the teams that they're playing.
But you're talking about just the Broncos.
I know,
but
maybe that's
NFL.
a league thing. Maybe that's just been a league thing. I'd have to go back and look at the schedule, but maybe that's just one of those weird, bizarre league things where you're playing great teams on the road or at home all the time. I don't know. I'll say that without the crowd noise there, which is usually good for a false start, one false start every game, 1.5 false starts every game. Without the crowd noise there, yeah, you do lose something. You do lose something to the advantage. And maybe the way that, teams do the coin toss gets changed a little bit by that. Because normally when you're home versus when you're away, you do the coin toss if you win it a little bit differently. If you win the coin toss, you don't want to put your out on the road. You don't want to put your offense out first. You want to put your defense out first, take the crowd out of it a little bit, because if you put your offense out there, the crowds they just got there. They're going to be super loud. So, there's a psychology to even the coin toss component of it and all that. I don't know. It's interesting. I give it a couple more weeks. I really want to see if this phenomenon continues or if it just happens to be a fluky front end of the NFL schedule kind of thing.
And it very well could be. And there's a little bit of adjustment. I mean, everybody's making a bit of an adjustment right now through COVID. But for the Broncos, is there maybe something about their makeup that will help them on road games, especially in the scenario where they're not having to deal with crowd noise? I mean, the thing about it is we talk about the psychological component of being at home, maybe feeling as though, well, we got backing here. This is our home turf. But so far, you're right, the level of competition that they've played is significantly higher. And maybe there is something, too, that it just doesn't work out. But I do wonder maybe of the backs against the wall underdog mentality. We're heading out to Foxborough. Everybody in the country is picking against us. And maybe there's something to the team kind of having a little bit of an edge that way.
Could be. Maybe there's a letdown from being at home and not having crowd noise. Maybe it's a letdown that you're in front of your fans and you're not. Could be. And you're not getting, you're used to hearing that support. You're used to your program that way. Maybe. I'm speculating. I don't know.
Well, no, I know. But and one of the things that it's been really good about this team is because you're bringing up the penalties. And I think that's a really good point you bring up. The Broncos are actually one of the best teams in the league in penalties committed.
Testament to coaching.
They're third. They're third in the NFL.
Testament to coaching. If you're disciplined, that's a testament to coaching. And I know people want to make fun of. There was hot take radio guy out there trying to fire everybody and all this. And I've been pretty vocal about the special teams coordinator position needs to be looked at. I've been pretty vocal about that. But it's a testament to coaching. It's one of those things you put in the coach's column and say, hey, look, they got these guys prepared to play. They're not making mental mistakes. That's a testament to coaching.
But it makes you wonder when they do have games with mental mistakes. Like, so the Chiefs game is a perfect example, right? Of a game where it seemed like there was compounding mental mistakes out there. And the coaching staff has done a good job getting these guys prepared. You are third in the NFL in penalties committed, home or road. It doesn't really matter. I mean, I could go into the splits, but even more than that, you just take a look at that and say, okay, that is a team that is dialed in. So when you have 12 men on the field penalties and moments where it just everything isn't clicking, I think you wonder why.
Sometimes mistakes can compound. We talk about quicksand every once in a while. We reference the replacements and all that, but it's a real thing. Sometimes you make a mistake and then you press harder to do that, and it makes it worse. You know what I mean? Melvin Gordon desperately wants to make a play, so he's got the adrenaline jack. I'm back in. I had the DUI. I had the strep. I was sitting out a week, and the fans are booing me, and they're saying I need to be traded. I need to make a play. And you get out there, we flea flicker. Okay, all right. So you get out there and you're running this, and the adrenaline's pumping, and then you lob the ball backwards like it's an alley-oop to LeBron James, and Drew Lock is doing his best to get his hands on it. And then all of a sudden, it's just one thing after, and those mistakes compound. And then all of a sudden you realize, well, we're in a hole because we just gave up a special teams, and we had a turnover and all this kind of stuff. So I've got to make a big play. We got to get back on the board right now. So I'm firing this ball in there, and you throw it behind the guy, and he tips it up, and throws, there's all that stuff that compounds.
And you don't have the benefit of the crowd in this case to
put you back in
up.
it. Yeah, to pick you up and put you back in it, attaboy you. That kind of stuff. That is a part of it. I mean, these guys are, at the end of the day, entertainers. Mm-hmm. And they're playing to an empty theater.